And we will get started. So anyway, welcome to Thursday nights. Allie is not here this evening, so you guys, I'm gonna be in the driver's seat, and I've got my co-host Tammy alongside me tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right on in with element 11. How do you eat healthy beyond fuelings? And of course, mindset, skill set, and action every week. Of course, with these elements, but the mindset is start learning to eat healthy when buying food as you are zoning in on reaching your healthy weight. The skill set is understand the importance of your lean and green meal. And then, of course, the action, discover how to create your new 4-part shopping list that supports your habits of health transformation. And one of the great things I think that Dr. A talks about in here, of course, is the importance of your lean and green meal. And lean and green meals don't have to be complicated, but lean and green meals are the cornerstone foundation of life beyond fuelings. Because a lot of people want to know, if you've got 100 pounds to lose, you're like, well, what is life going to look like once I reach my healthy weight? And the great thing is, while you're focusing on your mind work through the life book, the great thing with our nutrition component, it's super simple. All you've got to do is eat every 2.5 to 3 hours during the day. And then you've got to focus on that one meal every day, that lean and green meal. And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, but just a quick and dirty on that, 5 to 7 ounces of lean protein. And then, of course, 3 servings of non-starchy vegetables, and then, up to 2 healthy fats, depending on whichever protein portion that you chose, for that lean and green meal. And then, of course, up to 3 condiments. And, of course, if you've got that Spiral Bound Optavia book, we've got those portion sizes are on page 18 in the book for your vegetables and your proteins. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that in just a quick minute. But I think one thing I really want to focus on as we dive into this tonight is, especially those who are looking for their shopping list, is the healthy fats. A lot of people overlook healthy fats. And I know here again, I was born in the 70s, so I'll be 49 in September. But a lot of us, if y'all remember in the late 90s, everything was about no fat or super low fat. And some fat that we have discovered now, and scientists have discovered that some fat is required and can be a good thing. So that's a different mentality than maybe some of us have had, from past experiences. And so the other thing is you can do, and we've discussed this with many other things. Sleep was one thing, but you can do everything right on the program. And if you're not getting in your healthy fats, you can go sideways and not have a week where you lose some weight. So those healthy fats are just that important. The other thing about healthy fats, they help you keep you full and satiated. So they keep you full. So the best example I can give is, let's just say you cook shrimp one night and you grill them and you don't put anything on them. And the next day, 24 hours later, or the following morning or whatever, you'll start feeling hungry. And the reason you're feeling hungry is because we know that shrimp, according to the guidebook, and it says it, and I want to show you guys where it's at. It says it right at the top. And it says, choose 7-ounce portion cooked weight plus 2 healthy fat servings. So if you're having shrimp, you've got to have 2 healthy fat servings. And of course, you can check your healthy fat listings in there. You can use olive oil, even if you saute those in olive oil, or even, drizzle them with olive oil. 1 tablespoon is 1 serving. 2 tablespoons of olive oil will be your 2 servings. So make sure that you're getting in those healthy fats. And got one more popping in. I'll let her in really quick. But the healthy fats are super important. And, of course, that shopping list should include selections from the 4 major groups. Of course, a lean protein, green vegetables and salad, healthy fats and oils, and of course, healthy snacks and condiments. And while we're on the subject of healthy snacks, I do want to point that out. It is in the Optavia guidebook. It's on page 20. So here's a preface to that. Read it very carefully. So you are allowed, and it says, in addition to your 5 fuelings and 1 lean and green meal, you may choose one of the optional snacks daily, not 2, not 3, not 1, couple of each. Talk to your coach about plan approved optional snackings, but optional snackings include 3 celery stalks, 1 fruit flavored sugar-free popsicle, a half cup of serving of sugar-free Jell-O or gelatin, up to 3 pieces of sugar-free gum or mints. I'm going to come back to that in a minute because it's very important. 2 dill pickle spears, half ounce of nuts, whether it's almonds, 10 whole almonds, walnuts, 7 halves, or pistachios, 20 kernels. So the 2 snacks in here that you need to be very cognizant of are, number 1, the nuts or the almonds. And there is an asterisk next to that. My suggestion on that is, but lean in with your coach. I tell people it's okay to have those as a snack, but if you have them on Monday, for example, don't have the nuts or the almonds or pistachios you can no longer about Thursday or Friday. Break it up so you've got a couple of days, between having that optional snack for that particular option. The other thing is sugar-free gum. That's another one of those things, just like healthy fats. You guys can do everything right and you can be losing weight like crazy. And then all of a sudden you start going sideways. And if, sometimes what we'll ask is, well, are you chewing bubble gum? One of my clients was chewing 4 pieces of bubble gum. She lost over 100 pounds and she got stuck for 2 weeks. And she's like, I'm doing all these things. What's going on? And I said, are you chewing gum? She says, yep, I'm chewing 4 pieces a day. Says it right here, 3 pieces of sugar-free gum. And she's like, but it's sugar-free. I said, cut the gum in half, 2 pieces, and cut it in half. That way you've got 4 individual small pieces to chew on. And the following week, she started dropping weight again. So that's one thing about this program with the exactness of it. It is just that exact. So if you don't follow it exact, when you start modifying it, and any modification can be not enough healthy fat, for example. I talked about that a little while ago. Or in this situation, maybe you're having almonds or nuts 3 times a week instead of 2. Or you're having 4 pieces of sugar-free bubble gum every day, or you're having 2 pieces of bubble gum and a sugar-free Jell-O every day. So if you're modifying the program, you start getting those modified results. One thing for those who are here now, and even the ones who are watching the recording, hear me on this, guys. It's very important. I know there are a lot of fueling hacks that are out there. Some of the fueling hacks don't take into account, and I want to just use grilling or waffling something as an example. So they use Pam to non-cook spray or whatever it is to do or make those fuelings, or to make those fueling hacks. Be very careful using those fueling hacks. Sometimes some of those extra little things, or maybe that teaspoon of that vanilla sugar-free, whatever it is you get at Michael's, that sugar-free syrup or whatever it is, when you start adding in those little things here and there, or maybe you'll have a teaspoon of peanut butter 2 powder, those little extra things, you start modifying the program, things start slowing down. So I want to be very, just upfront and forthright with you all, because I think it's important to know, because a lot of us, we look for these excuses, or we look for these reasons to make a modification to the program because maybe things aren't going like we want in our brain. And here again, from somebody who's a food addict, who's addicted to something sugary or high in sugar or whatever, I'm looking, and my brain is looking for that. I want that quick satisfaction of that high sugar. I want that rush. I want that feeling. I want to be taken back to when I was a kid with whatever it is. So I just wanted to really bring that to light because I think it's, really important. Diving into the lean proteins, of course, your shopping list for protein, it can be a wide variety, but Dr. Ray talks a little bit about some things in here. Of course, your lean portion, which is a 5-ounce portion, salmon, tuna, farm-raised catfish, mackerel or herring. And then when you get into the leaner option, which is where you need one healthy fat, can be swordfish, trout, or halibut. And I'm digging into seafood right there specifically. And then, of course, your leanest fishes, cod, flounder, haddock, orange roughy, and so forth. Then, of course, for your lean, like just regular meats and so forth, you can choose from lean beef, beef steak roast, ground beef, lamb, pork chop, pork tenderloin, ground turkey. And I encourage people constantly to get out of their comfort zone. I know when Allie and I did this last time, she says that her family eats about 6 different menu options every week. And she says Thursdays was a meatloaf night, for example. Every Thursday night's meatloaf night. So a lot of us get in that cycle. We have the same exact thing. And let's be real, it gets a little bit old eating the same thing all the time. And sometimes when you see lamb, for example, some of us say, well, I've never fixed lamb. Challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone and fix it on a night when you've got some time to prepare it. But try something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone. You may be surprised, at what you discover when you do that. There's also meat alternatives in here. And one thing I do want to touch base on, wild game, for example. So those of us in Virginia, of course, some of us do hunt, or if you're not a hunter and you've never tried wild game, I would encourage you to try it. So for example, ground venison, for example, is very, very lean, probably 98% lean. So when I take ground venison and cook it in a pan, for example, saute it in a pan, I have zero grease in that pan. No need to strain it or do any of that because it's that lean, but it's that good for you as well too. One thing that's important to know too, and I've heard Dr. A say this from stage, he personally has 3 servings of healthy fish every week. And that's just part of his, optimization process that he's in. He's at a healthy weight, obviously, but he has fish options at least every other day. So 3 times a week. And so if fish isn't your thing, or if you're allergic to fish, you've got to find an alternative. But choose some of those leanest options in the meat category. In the same situation with, if you're having some issues and maybe you've gone a little bit sideways and the scale's not moving, one thing you can do is tighten up your proteins by going to the leanest category. So whether it's, and here again, if you're allergic to shrimp, I get that. I'm going to use shrimp as an example. So 7 ounces of shrimp. Or you can go with the leanest portion, ground turkey, for example, very lean meats there. And that will, if you do that 2 or 3 days in a row, coupled with the leanest category of your vegetables, you will have great success there as well too. Of course, healthy fats and oils, I've kind of already dove into that a little bit, but getting those healthy fats and oils will help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K, contributes to gallbladder health. Fats also help you lose weight by giving you a sense of fullness and adding texture to your meals. Our focus in the weight loss phase, he says, will be on eliminating unhealthy fats while supplementing your diet with healthy omegas that can accelerate your journey towards optimal health. Having a good supply of omega-rich antioxidants is particularly smart now during the weight loss phase when your body is unloading fat cells and unhealthy fat-soluble substances. So, I'd encourage everybody to take a look at page 222 to just see what those fat servings are. And, 1.5 ounces of avocado. I mean, it can be something as simple as that. Can be up to 2 tablespoons of low carbohydrate salad dressing, 5 to 10 black or green olives, 1 tablespoon of reduced fat margarine, or 1 teaspoon of canola, flaxseed, walnut, or olive oil. I do know that I have seen coconut oil in there. And we've talked about this too. Coconut oil for some people can actually cause inflammation. So be cognizant of that and aware. Maybe if you try coconut oil, I know a couple of years ago it was the healthy option and all the new rage, but some people have an inflammatory response when they consume coconut. So just be aware of that as well too. Then of course, when we dive into green vegetables and salads, and who doesn't love our salads, So this is a pretty easy option for me to shop for, but keeping things simple, staying away from corn, staying away from potatoes, staying away from carrots. And yes, once you've reached your goal weight, we will start bringing some of these options in moderation. But for now, those who are on their 5-in-1 journey and trying to keep themselves into that ketosis state, we want to stick with the low glycemic leafy green vegetables. And one thing I do want to talk about this, because he does dive into vegetables, nutrient dense, low glycemic carbohydrates that support your health while you lose weight. Some popular diets reduce carbohydrates to a low level. And he's talking about the keto diet. He's talking about the Atkins diet, for example. They bring a profound state of ketosis. So basically 20 grams or below. I know Atkins specifically, or in keto as well, 20 grams or less of carbs per day. And for some of us, that can be a shock to our system. It can cause some liver damage and some kidney issues. It can also blow out your gallbladder. I have heard folks who have tried keto and have had that happen because of the amount of high fat food that they're, you can have as much bacon as you want. So, I mean, that's just why we tend to stay away from that. But more importantly, he talks about, I don't advocate that. Rather, this plan will create an efficient physiological state of mild ketosis, or what I like to call a fat burning state. So it's going to allow you to keep burning fat while giving you enough carbohydrates so that you can go get some healthy motion in. So basically 80 to 85 grams of carbs per day to maintain that muscle and your brain health. Of course, you're getting protein during the day as well. I have heard some people, when I've discussed the program with them, they have said, well, with Optavia, I'm going to lose muscle mass because I'm not getting enough protein. Those of us who coach and those who have been around for a while, we know that that is exactly the opposite, because you're getting a protein carb balance with each of your fuelings. And then, of course, with your lean and green meal, you're getting another 5 to 7 ounces of lean protein. The only time that you would need to, and I'm going to speak a little off topic right now, but those who are working out and doing maybe the 4-2-1, for example, and maybe you're trying to build some muscle utilizing the 4-2-1, work with your coach on that, because what we can do is adjust your protein intake to suit your lean muscle mass, so that while you're in that muscle building phase, you're getting enough protein, and we may have to supplement as well to help you build muscle, if that makes sense. So just know that that's available, but reach out to your coach on that as well too. Let's see. And then, of course, he dives into the which vegetables on page 224. Talks a little bit about the highest carb, the moderate carb, and then, of course, the lowest carb vegetables. So just like I said earlier, if you have a week where things maybe went a little sideways and you're not sure and you're watching this video and maybe you haven't reached out to your coach, number one, raise your hand to your coach. Let them know what's going on. Hey, I've gone a little sideways this week or last week. I'm not sure what's going on. One of the first things that you can do now and get into action is, number one, having the lowest, the leanest proteins, and then the lowest carbohydrate vegetables. So you can look on page 224 and choose from the lowest carbohydrate vegetables and do that for a couple of days. And that'll give your body that little jump start, if you will, that you may need. So just keep that in mind. Then, of course, the healthy snacks and condiments. Condiments, you're allowed to have up to 3 condiments per day. Keep in mind that your condiments that you use should be less than 1 gram of carb per serving. So you can enjoy up to 3 of those per day. And the condiment list, there is a list on page 225. Of course, there is in your Optavia guidebook on page 21, and also reach out to your coach, because there is an expanded condiment list that is rather lengthy, that it's handy to have printed out, that you can have as well too. Guys, condiments are, it's a foundation for, changing the taste of some of these foods. And so for some of us, it can make things a little bit more palatable. But I encourage you to, maybe try a new spice once every other week. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit there, because what you may be surprised is when you see turmeric and some of these other, options and spices in there, you may think to yourself, well, I've never tried that. I don't know what, and people are fearful of trying something new. But this is where we go back to element 4, being open and curious. Instead of being closed off and defensive and going, I'm not going to try that. I'm just going to have, chicken and salad. Open yourself up to trying something new, because what you'll likely find is your taste buds have changed. And by utilizing these condiments and some of these spices and herbs, you may find something that you really like and maybe that you've missed out on for many years. And then, of course, let's see. He also talks a little bit here. He says, so now that you have your 4-part grocery list and the entire inventory, you need to restock your kitchen for phase 1 using the fuelings. It couldn't be simpler, but remember, it's a precise eating strategy that works best exactly as outlined. And let me highlight that. Exactly as outlined. So just like I said earlier, when you modify the program, and I'll use an example, let's just say maybe you didn't weigh your vegetables and you got more than necessary, or maybe not enough. Same with protein. Maybe maybe you've had 7 to 10 ounces of steak and you thought your serving size was 5 ounces. You've gone over. But so if you're using the program to exact specifications, 5 ounces of steak, for example, you're going to get the results that you're looking for. So when you start modifying the program, you get those modified results. He says, actually put together your healthy grocery list here, and you can download extra copies from habitsofhealth.com. So you can go online, www.habitsofhealth.com, click on resources. There are a ton of resources for all of us, regardless of where you're at in your journey, whether you've just starting or whether you've maybe hit your goal and you're looking to move beyond, just the fueling portion of the program. You've got plenty of options there as well. And guys, the one thing with these lean and green meals is just this. A lot of people talk about, well, what am I, that's one of the first questions many clients ask is, what am I going to do once I reach my healthy goal? Well, right now, you're already doing it. And I tell people that and they're like, what do you mean? Am I going to eat fuelings the rest of my life? Well, no. Some of us keep these options around, these fuelings around. I know Allie does. I know I do as well, too. I keep some fuelings around. I may have 1 or 2 a day, but I don't sit around. I'm not doing 5 and 1 5 years in, but I keep them around as healthy options. Number one, because I know in the middle of the day, I crave something sweet and salty. So I'll just keep the s'mores bar around, and I know I take care of that craving, and I'm not tempted to go into the grocery store or maybe stop somewhere and make a poor choice during the day. And that's just my personal preference and take. Everybody's got their options that they like. I know Allie, she loves the honey mustard sticks. Some people hate those, but here again, that's what it's kind of one of those go-to things. She's got something crunchy and she tends to lean on that. So, the fuelings can be utilized whenever and wherever you want, basically, once you've hit your healthy goal. But you can lean in with your coach on that as well, too. But that's pretty much the foundation of what your shopping list is going to look like is shopping, looking through these proteins, looking through these vegetables. And one thing to remember, guys, especially those who are watching the recording, Brussels sprouts are not 5 and 1 compliant. I know a lot of folks think they are, but they are not. And onions are the same. So onions are, we do have some recipes on Optimal Awakenings where they say maybe just take 1 sliver of an onion, but keep in mind that may be in a dish that has like 4 servings in it. So yeah, you may get that little bit of an onion flavor, but you're not chopping up a whole onion and consuming that onion in that dish. So I want to be very, make you aware of that. So carrots are not on there as well, of course, potatoes and corn. But just remember, when you go through this Optavia guidebook and you're looking at page 19, for example, if you don't see it, it's not allowed. So I'll just keep it as simple as that. And if you're curious, you can always go to Optimal Awakenings and you can type in a question. Just say, hey guys, is this allowed? And you'll be surprised how many people will be happy to help you out. But they also may even pop in some resources so that you can see maybe you missed something here. Maybe some of you don't have this. They'll pop this in as well. So you got that as well too. So with that said, I think that's pretty much everything in element 11. But next week, we're going to talk about element 12, optimizing your success and reaching a healthy weight. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.